What's up guys, this is Mohammed and today I'll be doing a review of the DJI Mavic Air. So I've had this drone for about 6 months now and I've been using it on professional shoots. And I'm actually shooting myself with the DJI Mavic Air. Right now it's sitting on the table there and I'm shooting at 4K 30 at ISO 800. So you can see some of its low light capabilities here. So in the box you get the drone, you get the controller, and the drone is actually very small and it has a very nice carrying case. So it's a very travel-friendly drone. And the joysticks of the controller are actually tucked in underneath these wings here. So that's nice and tidy. It doesn't take much space in your bag and you can go anywhere with it. I got the Onyx Black version because it's the least toy-looking one. And even though it's a toy-looking drone, the build quality is actually very good. It's made of high-grade plastics, and the controller itself also feels very good in the hand. The advantage with the black version is that it's easier to spot once it's in the air when you're out shooting in a bright sky, while the white version might get lost easier in those situations. So I'm going to structure this review with the pros and the cons of the DJI Mavic Air. Starting with the pros is the image quality. This drone is capable of shooting 4K at 30 frames per second at 100 megabits per second bitrate. And the quality of the image is quite nice. It has a very good dynamic range despite its smaller sensor. And the lens itself is a 35mm f2.8, which is not as bright as the f2.2 of the Mavic Pro, but it's still quite good. And the nicest thing about the DJI Mavic Air is its ability to shoot 2.5K at 60 frames per second. So you get that high frame rate capability, but at a higher resolution than just 1080p, which is something that I wish more manufacturers would do, allow you to shoot higher frame rates at those mid resolutions, the 2.5K, 3.7K, whatever. And this is something that Blackmagic does with their Blackmagic Pocket cameras, but I wish more manufacturers like Panasonic, Canon, or Sony would implement this ability into their future cameras. Another pro of the DJI Mavic Air is its stability. We live in Istanbul, and Istanbul is an infamously windy city. The wind speed here can go up to around 50 kilometers per hour. And I've actually taken off this drone in those high wind speed situations, and it's quite stable in the air. Now, the gimbal is not as stable, so the drone will fly in those situations, but the gimbal will have trouble keeping the footage smooth. So you will need to do some stabilizing in post. Another nice thing about this drone, which makes it very beginner friendly, is that it has 7 sensors around its body. So they call it the APAS system, and actually the drone will automatically move around those obstacles as it comes near them. So it's actually very hard to crash this drone. And it has a lot of modes for just automatic flying. So you can just let the drone do its thing by, tracking the object that you want to track. So when you go into this section here, there's quick shot, there's active track, there's smart capture, and my favorite is the tripod mode, which limits the speed of the drone, which enables you to get some very cinematic looking shots. And then you have cinematic mode, which is the difference between cinematic mode and tripod mode is the cinematic mode only reduces the brake speed. So instead of coming to a sudden stop, it will slowly decrease the speed and then come to a stop. That's the difference between cinematic mode and the tripod mode. So now the cons of the DJI Mavic Air, and at top of that list, this drone's Achilles heel is that it uses Wi-Fi connection to the controller and to your phone instead of RF radio frequency. And that means that you will get a lot of connection drops. At first, the image transmission, the video quality will drop down. Then you will start getting these hitches. And after that, the video signal is lost. So I've had to fly this thing blind a couple of times. One anecdote is we were shooting in Rumeli Feneri, which is a very, very beautiful place here in Istanbul. And I had the DJI Mavic Air quite high up in the air. And suddenly the controller stops responding and my image drops. So after about 3 or 4 minutes of panicking and trying to get the control back, I finally get the control back, but not the image. I don't see where the camera is or where it's looking at. I don't have any GPS information, nothing. I can only control the drone. I can hear it, that it's moving around, but I don't see where it is because it's very high. So I start moving it around and finally I see something in the air. So, I track it back to me and land it. And when I land it, I get my video transmission back and I see that it's been shooting the whole time. Another anecdote is we were up on a pier on an island in Istanbul, and in that area the GPS is not very strong. Actually, on your phone, the GPS, like the map app, doesn't work correctly. And at that point, I had set the drone to fly back home and land whenever it loses connection. So I'm trying to get this shot with about 3 minutes of flight time left, and I take it to the water. I'm trying to circle around my subject, and suddenly the image transmission drops, the controller transmission drops, nothing. And at the same time, my phone locks up, and I see the drone circling around trying to find its position. It comes back to me trying to land, so I let it do its thing, but then it goes back up and then starts going towards the sea. For some reason, it thought the home point is actually in the sea, so it goes above the water and starts to land in the water. So at that point I thought, okay, I've just lost my at that point 1 week old drone. In the nick of time, I get the connection back, remove all of the automatic shit, fly it back up, fly it to me, and land it. I actually hit a tree on the way, start circling around, and then land at whatever land it had underneath it. It was kind of like a Mission Impossible situation at that point, because I only had like a 40 seconds, 60 seconds left to land it, and it was the scariest thing I've ever had happen with drones. But that is the issue of having Wi-Fi connection instead of RF. It has a limited range, and whenever you exceed that range, you will start to have issues. And this is important because whenever I look at reviews for cameras, drones, anything on the internet, I try to look for the ones that are actually made by filmmakers, not by YouTubers. YouTubers get to test these cameras and drones for a day or two, or at most a week, and they report on those initial findings. And you don't really get a good feel of the long-term use of anything in a 2-day period or a 1-week period, which is why I tend to look at reviews that have had used the camera or the drone or anything else for quite some time. And this is the same. This is my findings after using this drone for 6 months. Another con of this drone is its battery life. So it has 21 minutes of flying time, but not really, because you can only fly this for about 17 or 18 minutes. After that, the drone will start freaking out, making these loud noises that, hey, you need to land me, you need to land me. So you only actually get about 17 or 18 minutes of flight time, and that's not really enough for a whole day of shooting. So you definitely need backup batteries. And the last con is actually in the controller, which I have to show it to you because it's not really easy to explain here. So the problem is these joysticks have an 8 direction range of movements, where, for example, you go up and you go, for example, to a 45-degree angle and it locks into place. You see how I can't easily move it, down or up from here. And the issue that it causes is that it's harder to get, very smooth movement, like going, up to down without it falling into these holes. As opposed to something like a game controller where you get the 360 movement with no hard locks anywhere. So overall, would I recommend the DJI Mavic Air in 2020? Yes and no. Yes, if you want to have a very light and compact travel drone which still gives you a very beautiful 4K footage, which neither the Spark nor the Mini does. So the Mavic Air still has a place in the DJI's lineup of drones. And don't get me wrong, the image is very beautiful. The quick shot modes are very nice to have. The tripod mode is beautiful. And the fact that it has obstacle avoidance is very good for beginner pilots. However, if you're looking into more professional kind of work, the DJI Mavic Pro and the Pro 2 or even the Zoom might be better options for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, let us know what you think in the comments, and subscribe to my channel. Till next time.